Weldon Johnson houses, and they are very capable after a few months training, educating to handle their own show. In the meantime, Brother Leroy takes the lead. And this program does not reflect the views, attitudes, whims, deeds, or any other proclivities of the management of this center, nor that of the administration in this complex. However, the program does reflect the research done by the participants in the program who are live in living color in studio and by phone interview. And of course, there is you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the first class citizens of the world. We thank the Most High for blessing us with the opportunity to be with you and you to be with us. An announcement before we get the show on the road, and that is at the State Office Building on 125th Street and Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. On the 15th floor, they have for youngsters and older people who dropped out of school, want to continue their education, they have free courses, literacy, math, study habits, those necessities that would enable you to have a smoother ride into a community college or a college. It's the 15th floor at the State Office Building in Harlem. It's free. You have no excuses. Tell your nieces, your nephews, tell your husband, your wife. Take the opportunity. Once again, this is the Wisdom Table, and our guest online, ladies and gentlemen, is America's numerologist. You say, why do I say America's numerologist? I happen to listen from time to Coast AM. They come on at 1 a.m. in the morning, and they have pretenders to the throne doing numerology, and it's nowhere near what this brother does. I'm not pumping him up beyond his scope. I'm just giving him his due and letting people know that inferiority has the game won until we come up with our own game. And this is Brother Lloyd Strayhorn. Thank you for joining us there, brother.
Thank you, Brother Leroy. It's an honor and a pleasure to be on with you after our long relationship in this radio business. It's a pleasure.
And what we're going to start before we do some numbers internally here at the Wisdom Table, we're going to go to current events. And let's deal with a young lady who is in the administration of Donald Trump and attempting to play a Trump card now that she is no longer on his staff. Omarosa. What numbers do you have on her, or have you had the opportunity to do anything?
Omarosa, first of all, is an Aquarius. Okay, she's born in January, and Aquarians is very unique in their own way, style of how they do things, carry out their plans, get things done. They like to think outside the box. Whereas the president, your president, is Gemini. Okay, so astrologically, Aquarians and Geminis get along. See up for a point. I do think that you can tell where people are at, such as this morning sending out a tweet referring to Omarosa as a dog. So it shows you where people are really at the end of the day. Okay? And you and I know what dog means. He said dog, but we know how that's interpreted otherwise. Okay? And that's because she's got the goods on him, and she's got other recordings, whatnot. You know, obviously women are going to be his albatross. Achilles.
No, I need you to replace that. Your voice is going in and out. Are you on speakerphone or talking direct into the phone?
Okay. What I'm saying is that women obviously will be Donald Trump's Achilles heel, his weak link. From a Stormy Daniels, who's a Pisces, March 17th, to Omarosa and other people involved. But there's a lot of things that's going on that doesn't look too good for this president anyway. And in fact, I did a piece in the summer of July of 2016 while I was running, and I was asked in this interview, what happens should this man win? And I said, first of all, it would prove that this country's lost its moral compass, which I think it has. more hate, more cheating, and stuff like that. But more so, I explained that he would enter the presidency under a cloud of lawsuits and scandals, and that's been an understatement.
And so what you forecast in 2016, you're seeing it now. And what was the basis of your forecast?
It was simple. President Trump is born on June 14th of 1946. So at the time he was running, he was entering a 3 personal year going in from 2016 into 2017. 3 is one of his major opposition numbers that symbolically denotes scandals and lawsuits. And 3 also represents influence from foreigners, foreign countries, foreign languages. And you see the main adversary is the bear, which is Russia. Russia is known as the bear. Symbolically, in the United States, it's known as the eagle. And it seems right now the bear is trying to devour the eagle if it hasn't devoured the eagle already.
Mm. And just going back in time, and the wisdom table can raise their hand and jump in at any point. What was your reading on Miss Hillary Clinton at that time?
Well, on that time, I was swapping down. She would win. It would be a cakewalk. In fact, she did win the popular vote. Mm-hmm. She did win. Now, here's what's interesting and show you how people do. People on me were like, oh, you said she would win. You said she would win. And she didn't. Okay. But yet, now I'm getting calls from people that says, yeah, but you also said that if Donald Trump should win, he would enter the presidency under a cloud of lawsuits and scandals, and losses more accomplished. So that part has fulfilled itself too. So that's all. But he will not be elected for 2020 now. No. And so if somebody says he's gonna run a second time, the answer is no. Actually, it's the vice president is to be more feared than Trump himself.
All right. Just dealing with current events or near current events, local, national, or international, what are some of the investigations, I'll put it, or analysis that you have done on any names that might be public or about to be public?
Well, one of them is Robert Mueller, the guy who is running this investigation, and what people fail to realize is astrologically, Robert Mueller just celebrated a birthday just several days ago. He's a Leo. Leos are not to be fooled with, and he's a number 7. 7 is the number of analysis, investigation, and they like to stay under the wire. That's why, if you notice, no matter how much they've been knocking him, he has not responded in that way. When he responds, he's going to come out in a way that the facts are on the table and whatnot. And just his military background, he is a Marine or a jarhead. And if you talk to anybody, you might have some seniors there who are ex-Marines. They'll always be Marines. They'll live 1,000 years and they'll still be a jarhead. And so with him having that attitude, born in 1944, being an old school military and a Marine, the guy's not going to give up. So this president is messing with the wrong person.
Sister J.
Donald Trump's wife. She's very strange. Can you?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
Donald Trump's wife. She's very strange. What's the atmosphere of her?
Hey, Brother Leroy, if you could repeat some of that.
Donald Trump's wife comes off as being very strange. What analysis have
Melania.
you done?
Well, Melania is a Taurus. She's born on April 26th, one day after you, Brother Leroy. And 8s and 5s don't get along at all. And when he came into office for the first time, his first trip was to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, or something like that. And one of the scenes was he went to grab her hand and she just swiped her hand away. She didn't even want to touch the brother. Okay? So 8s appear to be cold or distant, misunderstood. And, as much as, and here's the irony. Her goal as the first lady is to raise consciousness about cyberbullying. Well, who does more cyberbullying than her
Wow.
husband?
Wow.
That should be the first. That should be the first one she did that sit down with and say, "Listen, honey, okay, I'm trying to do something up in this piece, all right?
Wow.
You guys set an example."
Wow. That's right in front of us. And it takes a black man in Harlem to bring that right up front. That's very
And he
interesting.
bullets. Listen, anytime you're calling people out of your name, anytime, and I mean, and he turns against people. And then I do not understand this nation allowing that. They've already bragged about how he so far today told 4,000 lies. Well, this prior Barack Obama, black president, had he told 4 lies, he'd have been toast. Not 4,000, not 40, not 400. Okay, 4. They would want to put him to the prime. Okay, so I mean, it's just a double standard. And the fact that this man still talks about the prior president means my president is still Barack Obama, because they still talk about it. Tried to dismantle everything he's trying to do, and to, so the man has issues. 45 has issues. Okay, a lot of people have issues, and this whole phenomenon now, where white people feel entitled, they can call the police on anything about us, anything. From a young girl, 8-year-old, trying to sell water to raise money to go to California, by a white woman who sells cannabis to dogs, and her license ain't even straight. Okay, I mean, so we cannot be anywhere, do anything. And then when they want to know what the white privilege is, you and I just can't call the police because some white person's looking strange or looking out of place. Okay, so these are all the things that are happening. So this country is under a real test, you know. And as I explain to people, these folks have a psychosis that goes back, I guess, from whenever. The problem with their psychosis is we, people of color, bear the brunt of their psychosis. But they
Psychosis
have
means
a
psychosis
fear,
means what?
a psychological fear. And even when I went to China, for example, there is a fear of black men, black women. We have been, vilified no matter where we go, all over this planet. And yet we are the fathers of civilization, and I'll never let people forget that. We are the fathers of civilization. And so people are going to have to deal with that reality. So anyway, back to numbers, and get me on that. Numerology is a very ancient science for the Lord. And in fact, they say that Pythagoras is the father of numerology, but I don't know how he's going to be the father of numerology when at the same time they said Pythagoras went into Egypt to study the subject. And if the common sense question becomes, oh, where is Egypt? Egypt is on the African continent, so I can see right away the origin of numerology. Pyramids are built at the exact center of the earth. I mean, you don't do that without some mathematical knowledge and precision. So these are all the things that got me started. And so what I'd like to do with those that are in studio with me and take some birthdays, and I can demonstrate what I can do, and we can make it fun, because everybody has lucky numbers, and lucky days, and lucky months.
Hi there.
And if I get a volunteer.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, dear. Your name?
Esther Hyatt.
Esther Hyatt. Boy, your name sounds so familiar, Esther. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Nice
What
to
month
meet
and day you born? I don't need the year. You want to share that? That's fine.
Before you, I had my hand raised a little bit before you started asking about the hour dates. I am interested in Omarosa Manigault Newman, and what you have to say about her as far
Oh, well, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Esther.
as far as her, her, just where she's coming from at this day and time. and also the fact that she is a black woman. I might add a beautiful black woman, articulate, and so forth. And she's very controversial right now. And
Well,
yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
Well, Esther, to me, she's always been controversial ever since she was on The Apprentice originally as a schemer or a backstabber or whatever. But I can tell you this: good, bad, or indifferent, she is still survived. Of all of the apprentices that have gone, or apprentice, whatever you might want to say, has come before and since, she is probably the most recognized, the most talked about. But then again, she is an Aquarius. This is the age of Aquarius. This is also the age of women, which is why you don't hear that phrase anymore as the woman's place is in the home. You just don't hear that no more. That's over. So she is a go-getter. She's a gamer, obviously, and she's a survivor. And she knew how to back up herself. She already knew that they would probably slander her, and what she did in her presence and being around the people she's been associated with, she knew she had to, cover her backside. And that's exactly what she did by having those recordings. Some woman said, she didn't have no conversation with Omarosa, but Omarosa produced the recording of the interview that the lady was telling the lady talk about the president on the cable show this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got enough to cover her back. So she's a survivor. And they're going to talk about it like a normal partner, but she's going to survive it. And she survived all this time, and I think she's going to do better too. That's all.
Okay.
Now, for you, Esther, what's your birthday? What month and day you born, Esther? I didn't want to leave your house.
Okay, July 5th.
July the 5th. Okay, let me tell you about July. In short, when you were young, you were old. When you got older, you got younger, and some of the relationships. You've never had a problem attracting the opposite sex, but although you're a very attractive woman in that sense, actually the beauty was your mind. In terms, you've always been sharp, engaging, multifaceted, multi-talented, didn't have much patience where you like to repeat yourself too many times, and please don't be slow, dull, or boring. That was your attitude. And work well under pressure, and walk before you was 1 year old. And from your birthday, actually, you should have been a writer or wrote poetry or kept a journal or log or whatever the case is. And this is you're going to do well for the next 3 years like you did. And I can tell you when it happened in the fall of 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. Then I could go back into the fall of 1990, 1991, 1992, 1993. So maybe those would be flashpoints in your past. But I'm saying between now and moving forward for the next 2 years, things are looking pretty good. Your key or lucky numbers are always the 5, 2, and the 7. Almost any time I talk to somebody, these numbers come out. If I made you pay me 10 years later, you still wait for whatever reason. But your lucky numbers are the 5, 2, and 7, which means your best days are always on a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. And your best months, without exceptions, are always in May, June, July, September, and October. When you married, when you got pregnant, when you gave birth, a mom or dad, they'll always be around. Late April into May, May into June, June into July, late August into September, and October. And that's how your life runs. And you, by the way, don't regret it all what you like to do attract younger men.
I want you to maintain contact with that phone because sometimes it goes in and out. But
I have it off speaker and I'm talking directly into it and I'm by the window. I was hoping it should be
okay. Might be on our side, but that's neither here nor there. Sister J.
My name is Edith Jenkins. My birthday.
Sister Jenkins,
yes.
Your birthday?
1/13/43.
You are a Capricorn. You are just the opposite of Esther Hyatt. She's a Cancer. You are a Capricorn, but you're a Capricorn 4 person because you're born on the 13th day of the month. 1 plus 3 is 4. I would say on your numbers there, if I had to hang a motto over your door, it would be to know Sister Jenkins is to love Sister Jenkins. Okay? because it indicates you were out on your own between your 19th and 22nd birthday. Grew up very fast, very independent. You always had secret enemies because you like to do things different. Everybody does it one way, darn if you're not going to do it another way. You know, that's your style. It also indicates you're high strung, deep wounded in your feelings, different master that people don't know, but you do. And also, don't worry, don't worry. So, for Sister Jennings, her key or basic numbers are the 4, 1, and 8. Those are your lucky numbers. 4, 1, and 8. That means your best days are Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Those are always your best days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And it means your best times of the year are January, February, June, July, and August. I'll repeat. They are January, February, June, July, and August. When you got married, got pregnant, you know, separated, mom, dad, 4 birthday months, children's, something. But normally those are your best ones. And you know, and sometimes, you know people, but you don't have a lot of friends. And it's not because of a personality flaw. It's just that people just don't really know you initially. They think they know you. And then what prevents you to have a nerve to say, girl, you know, when I put that I like you, like they're doing you a favor. But as they have to do, they find out you're really cool.
Okay, thank you.
And welcome, dear. So you're looking once again at 4, 18, 4, 1, and 8.
This is the Wisdom Table coming in from the James Weldon Johnson houses. I'm Brother Leroy, along with Sister Shirley, Sister Jenkins, Brother Stu, and Sister Esther, and Brother Jay. And we're with the unique man who took Bumpy Johnson's place. He gives out numbers. he gives out numbers, and they ain't caught up with him yet. And anyway, Sister Shirley you got Sister Shirley's another one to see the wisdom table though. They they be hiding behind knowledge. They let other people go first. But anyway, Sister Shirley.
Oh, Shirley Stroud.
Shirley,
July 22nd.
Did you say July 22nd?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, happy belated birthday. This year, you've been laying the foundation for some things to get yourself more structured, more organized. As a young girl, you were always kind of in an inner world. You asked lots of questions. Like to be your own best company. Some of your girlfriends thought coming up as a kid you were snooty or stuck up, or who did she think she was? But that wasn't it at all. You kind of like to stay to yourself and learn and figure out things. Your birthday, like the one that's like Sister Jennings indicates it, actually you're kind of ahead of your time also. Sensitive, very different, very unique, high strung.
High strung.
Yes, I said she was high strung. She has a sensitive nature, and actually she has a gift with computers or numbers, something like that. Her and Sister Jennings would have that similar. They may have worked around numbers as an accountant or work with figures or something of that nature, work with their hands or computers and stuff like that at some point. Or if they never have, they would take to a computer like a duck to water if exposed if they haven't already. She, like Sister Jennings, is easy wounded in her feelings, although people talk to her and think that nothing bothers her. But if they were really, really aware of how sensitive and attuned she is, they would be amazed. She's also deeply intuitive. She knows things but don't know how she knows things too. It also indicates on her birthday coming up that she may have had a love of dance and theater, may have kept a journal or log, and like to collect things or find it hard to throw things away. But this year and next year are going to be very good for her because this year she's laying the cornerstone of the foundation to really getting it together, getting everything structured and organized. It does indicate around this past April, somebody from the past may have tried to come back into your life by news of a funeral, a wedding, a christening, a baby shower, something of that nature. And right now, to be honest, you're in your lucky month. And in fact, you're in a money month for this August before we go into September. So things are looking pretty good. I would say July 22nd.
Thank you.
October 2265.
October 22.
Yes, sir. 65.
That's interesting. One is a 22. That's born July 22nd. 2 plus 2 is 4. Then another one, Sister Jennings, she was born January 13th. 1 plus 3 is 4. Now this person is born October the 22nd, and 2 plus 2 is 4. But they would be a Libra Scorpio 4 person. Anytime you got a person born on the 20th, the 21st, or the 22nd, like the last lady I spoke with, or this person I'm about to talk to, these are called cusp persons. In other words, not bipolar in terms of a medical way, but they got a foot in one sign they're leaving and a foot in another sign. So, for example, if I talk to this person October 22nd, more than likely coming up as a kid or young adult, they read both signs. They read the sign of Libra, the sign they're about to leave, or the sign of Scorpio, the sign they're about to go into. And so probably by this time, they've made up their mind where they feel comfortable more in the Libra area or more in the Scorpio. If this person feels they're more of a Scorpio, their lucky numbers are the 4, 1, and 9. If they feel they're more of a Libra, then their lucky numbers are the 4, 1, and 5. If they feel they are a Scorpio, their numbers are the 4, 1, and 5, and that means that Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays are their best days. If this person is a Libra, it means that Sunday, Monday, and Wednesdays are their best days. But whoever this person is, they're very different, very unique. They like to stand out in their own kind of way. So if those 3 persons, the one on the 22nd and the other one on the 22nd and the one on the 13th all work together, they would all have their own style of how they do things. So they come to that center on a regular basis. They all know how each other works. Sometimes they might work each other's nerves, but they understand how it rolls, and they don't have a problem. This year, this particular person is undergoing a spiritual transformation. They've been taking a hard look at their lives and what they've been going through, especially compared to last year, where there was either a health crisis, relationship crisis, or some adjustment crisis that they had to deal with, whether it was the home, relationship, health, whatever the case is. So since that time through now, they're spending a lot of time soul searching, trying to make an assessment of, why have I been doing what I've been doing? What does all this mean? And where is this going as far as my future is concerned? So those are the kinds of things I'm looking at. And so they have a choice. If they're a Scorpio, they're 4, 1, and 9 are their numbers. Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are the best days. But if they're Libra, then their lucky numbers are the 4, 1, and 5. And Sunday, Monday, and Wednesdays are the best days.
And what I'm hearing you say, if they feel, what does that mean?
Well, because people are born on the 20th of any month, the 21st of any month, or the 22nd of any month, astrologically are referred to as cusp children, C-U-S-P-S. Cusp simply means they're transitioning. They're going from one sign to another. It's like one foot is in the sign they're about to leave, and the other foot is into the next sign they're about to step into. So my experience has been, if you talk to this person, the one that's born on the 22nd and this one born on the 22nd, they will probably tell you that at some point in time, they read, like the first lady, she read both Cancer and Leo. This person probably read both Libra and Scorpio. And by the time they reach adulthood or maturity, they've probably figured out to themselves, do they fit more of a Leo or Cancer description, or the person that you're now talking about, they may feel they're more of a Libra or more of a Scorpio.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
Question.
We have another question.
Yes.
July 22nd don't have numbers or months. I didn't get a
Yes,
number or
yes,
months.
yes. Well, if you're July 22nd, your key numbers, in fact, you would have 4 of them, which would be the 4, 1, 2, and 7. Those would be your numbers: 4, 1, 2, and 7. Your best your best days would always be on a Sunday and a Monday. And your best months would always be in January, February, June, July, and August.
Thank you.
Okay. Is Jay in the house? Okay.
Can I get in there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, Brother Lloyd, Stu Reed here, July 1st.
My first, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
It tells me whoever you are, you've never taken orders well. It does suggest that your birthday was probably an older young lady that introduced you to sex 101 when you was a kid or a young boy. And at this point, you attract younger women because you don't look your age. And in fact, as a kid, you might have thought about being a lawyer or a doctor or a scientist or entrepreneur running your own business. You definitely wear glasses, and I'm not talking about because you're a senior citizen, but you always had sensitive eyes to the bright sunlight. Especially your right eye was a little bit more sensitive than your left eye. Every now and then it does rule high blood pressure, heart palpitations in the lower back, leaning more to your right side of the back than the left side of the back. This particular year, you have either made a decision to stand on your own or you have been forced to stand on your own in some way, shape, or form. Your key numbers are the 1427, like the lady born July 22nd, and her numbers are the 4127. Your numbers are the 1, 4, 2, and 7. So your best days are always on a Sunday and a Monday and a Tuesday. And your best months tend to be in February, April, followed by July and August. And very headstrong. You lay all your cards on the table. So what people see is what they get. And that's how you've always been.
Thank you.
Can we take your number?
Yes, you may. My number is 212 283. No, hold on. I need to call myself off. I'm sorry. 212 694 0716. That's 212 694 0716. I was thinking of my brother. I was about to give you his number. But mine is 212 694 0716. And I am going to work it out. Today was kind of crazy with me. I have been babysitting my granddaughter for the last 2 weeks. She turned the big 3 on this past Friday. But I am spooked. And I just dropped her off when Brother Leroy called right at the time. But I would like to make a physical appearance there, leave a couple of books for the center. So you all can see this because I wrote several books. And in this way we can meet one-on-one and I can give everybody and write everybody down their lucky numbers, lucky days, lucky months. And whatever you'll get, you'll help each other out or give a donation back to the center.
425.
That's you.
In person. In black person.
Well, you know who's also born on that day too? Garrett A. Morgan. The founder of traffic light, all that other stuff, and the brakes on the trains. I mean, Garrett A. Morgan was fierce, but that was his birthday, April 25th. So you're kind of a micro like that. Things well, let me tell you about this person that's hosting the show. Brother Leroy Baylor, is a Taurus 7 person. He's an earth sign with a water number born on the 25th of April in the year Never You Mind. Thank you. And what it indicates is 7 by nature are always fiercely independent. 7 is the number of knowledge and nature. 7 is the knowledge of wisdom. It's no accident that every founder of religious movements with that seventh Christ's birthday celebrate on the 25th. 2 plus 5 is 7. The Honorable Elijah was born on the 7th of October. Billy Graham was born on the 7th of November. Bishop Desmond Tutu was born on the 7th of October. Mary Baker Edie, the founded Christian Church, was born on the 16th. 1 plus 6 is 7 in July. Charles Russell, the founded Jehovah's Witness, was also born on the 16th day of the month, and 1 plus 6 is 7. The point is that 7 people tend to be metaphysically, spiritually, or philosophically aware. And they are the ones who raise people's consciousness. They're the ones who raise people's awareness. And they're the ones who obviously are founders of religious movements around the world. And 7s are very philosophical. 7s are very independent. 7s have their own mind. And I can tell you about Brother Leroy. He can be very sarcastic on a bad day, like take a long walk off a short bridge. But 7 is always about knowledge and research and wisdom. That is what he does. And that is the thing that we've been knowing each other, what, about 20, 25 years, probably longer than that, really.
Right.
And things have always been consistent. And so you, there at that James Weldon Center, are blessed to have a person lead a show like that, and he has definitely extended me an invitation. Is this every Tuesday, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to try my best to make a commitment that next Tuesday, I'm not going to have my grant ahead of 2 weeks. I'm going to take a 2-week break. I will come there next Tuesday, bring a couple of books. Brother Leroy, so if you can remind me Sunday or Monday, please.
Yes, sir.
That would be helpful. And that way I'll come there, shake everybody's hands. As I said, I'll bring a couple of books to lead at the center so people can read what I did. I wrote 6 books on the subject. I've been on Oprah Winfrey show several times and all these other things. So we as Black folks know we don't get on these shows because they feel sorry for us. It don't work like that. We got to really be on top of our game.
That's right.
And so it'll give me a chance to meet all the people that's there and shake your hands. And then this way we can ask some questions too. Do you have a blackboard or anything there by any chance?
Do we have a flip chart?
We can get one.
We can get one. We can get a flip chart.
Yeah, because if you can get one, I can show them how to do their names and whatnot, and do other people's names, so they can find out why they like them. Find out, oh, now I know why I never liked them, or whatever the case is. Okay.
Oh Lord! See, that's gonna be a fight.
So it's gonna be fun. You can look forward to seeing me next Tuesday.
Fun,
And
yes.
you got a great guy running that operation, the show, and I'll get a chance to see you. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. That's all.
Before
So
you
I pray that God give us
before you
the-
run, brother Lloyd, 2/9 and 5/23.
9, the person born on February the 9th, is that a male or female?
Female.
Okay, she's always attracted men in uniform, so more than likely she's a married, dated person connected with the military, law enforcement, construction, fire department, mechanic, machinist, toolist. If not, she herself may have had occupations where she wore uniform and handled tools, machines, or instruments, or went into the military or law enforcement. She has a very good opinion of herself. Her philosophy is like mom's, maybe the famous comic where the only thing a woman can do for her is bring her man. She gets along much better with the male. She'll tell you. She's always tried to get along with the sisters, but they ain't show her no love like the men do. The men are around, she knows that you more likely get the things she wants done than if another woman's there because of jealousy or whatever the case is like that. She's a woman that's of great courage. She's a woman that lays all her cards on the table too. And she's not mean about it. She's just honest about it. So if people don't want to hear the truth, she's not the one per se. This particular year, she's really working very hard to get her act together. Her lucky numbers are the 9, 4, and 1. Her best days are Tuesday and Sunday and Wednesday, or the way the calendar would go, they would say Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And her best months are always February, April, August, and November. Now, what was that other birthday you gave me?
5/23.
whoever this person is, they always know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. That's how they got their job, met their mate, got their car, got their place. This person is born on the same day as the brother that directed the movie Black Panther. That broke all kinds of records. They say black people don't like to read. Black people can't make no monies off the movies. Well, all that's been wrong. And whoever this person is, they're very talented, multifaceted. They don't have much patience. They probably walked before they was 1 year old. And they know everybody would just why it's hard for them to sneak around. And they should get into writing. Very smart. Very, very intelligent. You don't have a slouch up in that crew from the birthdays you gave. Not a single one.
All praise is due to the Almighty.
Oh yeah. Amen on that one, buddy.
So, any last?
No.
My niece, my
Save all
grandchild.
Yeah,
for next week.
January 17th.
Okay, the same day as Muhammad Ali and James Earl Jones and a couple other famous people of note, but whoever you are, your birthday indicates you were definitely out on your own between your 19th and 22nd birthday. You might even try to do it even earlier than that. You always know the value of $1. And in fact, you may say, Lord, I'm broke as a joke, but yet your past careers working at a bank, working for the treasury, working around people that had access to a lot of money. More than likely, you wanted to own a home or maybe still own a home because Capricorn is a property sign and 8 is a property number. You have both. So I know you were probably always desirous of owning a piece of land or a lot or property in some form or fashion, co-op, townhouse. In that case, your birth also suggests too, so you're very intense. Because of that intensity, this will explain the headache you were having, some concerns with the knees, the teeth, the bones, particularly more to the right side of the body than the left side of the body. It also suggests too that you're a man that's very determined, and when you focus, sir, it's hard for people to get you to go otherwise.
Yeah, it's a woman, Lloyd. It's my wife. Lloyd, it's a woman. It's my wife.
Oh, it's a woman. Okay. Well, let me tell you this. You have a very philosophical wife who always looks to the heavens for divine justice. Because down here, sometimes people are not ready for her. More than likely, you're talking about your wife. I know either living in a co-op or condo or living in a house. Because Capricorns and 8 like houses or property. Living in an apartment is fine. You might live in an apartment for all I know. But her background is she could have been born in a house or owned a house or would like to own a house if given that opportunity. Okay? She's very loyal, very faithful, although she would appear to be cold or distant or detached by other people's standards. But if people got to know her as you, especially her husband, you find she's totally the opposite of how people read her initially, And this is her year where she's changing things around the home, rearranging stuff, rearranging things at work, and rearranging some of her relationships too, whether it's with brothers or sisters, neighbors, friends, associates, whatever the case is like that. But she's a very intense lady. When she's on a mission, she's on a mission.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
I'm good. I'm gonna call you. This is
Not only that, but call me. But not only that, but I look forward to. I hope everyone that I spoke with today. I pray that the Creator allow us to see next week, because I'd like to be there to meet each and every one of you, shake your hands. This way you can ask more questions in depth. I can illustrate some things to you. Leave a couple copies of my book that y'all can share and read and learn, and then y'all see what I look like, which is no big deal, and y'all have access to me. Okay?
Brother Lloyd, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
It's always a pleasure, Brother Leroy. You know how we roll.
yes, sir.
Glad to see you next week.
Yeah, I'll see you next Tuesday, 1 o'clock. I'll be there.
Okay.
Bells on it, a big old smile on my face too.
There's gonna be a stadium up in here. After they get out there, child, you should have been, child. Whoa.
No, I'm gonna have him here.
All right, good brother.
Well,
God bless you, man.
First, sir, love all of you, and you're the best, Brother Leroy. Bless you, black man.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, there,
I'm gonna
brother.
bring them right here. No, I need y'all two right here at this date. Don't make no appointment.
Let's talk about this show and about can you get up enough of your confidence that's already there to handle the show next week? I'm asking now, do you or Sister Cheryl?
No,
Say who what?
no.
The way it's handled is you know the guests, you know what this show is, you know where it's at. I can give you a script or give you notes, and you introduce the individual. We are very happy to have with us the young man who was with us last week by phone. He's here in person, and that's why this room is filled up with folks that we ain't never seen before. That's gonna be your introduction next week. And
Oh, I could do that part with all this station and somebody else gonna have to do that.
well, you're gonna do that part. You're gonna introduce.
I can introduce.
After I do the station part. Then I'll throw it to you, and you're gonna introduce
The speaker.
the speaker, and you mentioned the name last. You say we had this speaker here by phone last week, and everybody hit the number during the week, and that's why this room is filled up with folks we ain't never seen before. And it's Lloyd Strayhorn. And that's, you just put some, when you make a cornbread, you make cornbread, right, sometime? And you,
All the time.
all the time, especially when the grandchildren come in.
And you add that ingredient,
Yeah, exactly, you put the gravy to it, that's how we introduce it. The name, you always try to hold the name till last. All right, you give the presentation first and you hold the name till last. We're speaking of none other than Lloyd Strayhorn. We're speaking of none other than Brother Doug, who we haven't seen in months and Sundays. Remember Brother Doug? Okay, I guess you do. Anyway.
Why is static?
I don't know. Something coming off.
Could it
off
be
the
the
phone.
battery?
Could be.
You say
Oh,
Lord.
it's because
what's the
Lloyd
last-
Strayhorn. Lloyd
Lord,
Strayhorn.
Powering off.
Strayhorn. There was a Strayhorn that worked with Duke Ellington, wrote the A Train.
Billy.
Billy Strayhorn. Yeah, he was a great. I never met him, but he's the power behind a lot of Duke Ellington's work. Billy Strayhorn. Billy Strayhorn. So the Strayhorns are a big family, you know. There was somebody in media, but anyway, Lloyd is, as you can hear him, he's down to earth. Very, you just what you hear is what you.
What you hear is what you
Yeah.
get.
He's very black, huh?
Yeah, he's beyond Lloyd, what type of guests rather, would you like to entertain? Anybody you've seen on TV, read in the newspapers, stories that you want to follow up? Because that's what a talk show is. You read the paper, or you see something on TV, some story, some unique story, could be one way or another. It doesn't have to be a negative show, a negative story. It could be a young girl that got all of these scholarship offers, blah, blah, blah. She could be in the New York area or outside, doesn't matter. Because all we have to do is get on the phone. And I'll go after the guest, then I'll show you how to do that. You see, if you see that somebody else got them, you can
And you
get them.
get them.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of knowing how and
How to go about getting them.
yeah, and you feel your way through that. So think about the subject matters that you would like to pursue, and guests that we may have had already that you might want to get back. And the object of this workshop is not to get you to do the workshop, but to get you to a point where you get the experience and you can guide others. Where you can guide others. My value is showing you some of the shortcuts, because that's all I do, is shortcuts doing these shows. And the key ingredient for doing a talk show is having a great guest. Or it doesn't have to be a great guest, having a guest that you can pull information out of. You don't have to be that smart in the subject matter. You just got to know a little bit. And then the way I started out, I would get a guest. Then I would call a couple of friends of mine who are readers and say, all right, I'm getting ready to interview, what's the brother that was the OJ's,
Johnny Cochran.
Johnny Cochran. I would say, all right, I'm getting ready to interview Johnny Cochran tomorrow. What are 2 questions that you would want to hear him answer? So by the time I get to 2 or 3 people, different people, I got 6 questions, including my own. And then in the beginning, I had them on a yellow pad, and I'd be asking these questions. And then the sister that produced me, she said, you starting this show with you got this yellow pad in your hand. This is when the camera's running. She just interrupted me, and I'm on a roll. You got this yellow pad, and you don't need no yellow pad. I'm saying, oh man, I haven't picked up the yellow pad since. I keep it up here.
Whatever comes up here, that's what
No. I know the questions I'm gonna ask in advance, and I memorized them.
Okay.
And then you don't need, when you have a guest who has information, you don't need no more than 3 or 4 questions yourself. Because in the answers that they give you, there's going to be questions that you're going to follow up on. So you can ask them, how did you get into blah, blah, blah? And in the process, they'll tell you that they were running away from a lynching in the South. And so on and so on. So, well, naturally, you ain't going to let that go by. You coming back. Explain that lynching piece. What happened? And how did you get away? Now, if they tell you something that's missing a piece, you don't have to, you don't have to follow up 1, 2, 3. You hold the 3, and then you come back later. Let's go back to that. You come back after you get some other, and then you come back. Let's revisit that lynching piece. When they came for you at night and your grandparents said that you weren't there, where were you? Well, I was out in the barn, etc. You know, but anyway, you see
You were hiding out in the barn.
Actually, the stories I heard, I think it was about my cousin. He had beat a cracker, as they call him, with a railroad tire. And my grandfather was well known. He was a tenant farmer, but he was well known to be able to do other things. And they came to him, the word got to him that they were gonna come and get my cousin. And my cousin got out of town by way of this is the story I remember, coroner, funeral home. He got out in a casket. So that's how I remember it. If I don't have it right, it's mixed up with somebody else. But my nephew, my cousin, had to leave. This is Dorchester, South Carolina. He had to go.
He had to go. He couldn't stay there because if he stayed there, they would have killed him.
Had to go.
He's lucky they didn't try to burn the house down.
Had to go. So Now, when I asked my cousin about it, he said, "Well, ain't nothing like that happened."
It's the same cousin.
The same cousin, but I'm asking him. He's grown man with grown children. So I'm standing there looking at him, and my mother told me that it did happen, and I'm looking at him.
He's still trying to hide it because he don't want nobody to know it. He don't know who he talking to. You might set him up.
That's right. Say something. Be at the general store in Orangeburg. Yeah. You're not from this area, are you? No, I'm from New York. I came down to see my cousin, and because I always wanted to see him and talk to him, and he had somebody with a railroad tie, but he said it didn't happen. I'm talking to the man's uncle. I'm just kidding.
I know. What's a railroad tie? I think I know.
Well, my mother told me a railroad tie, and when I looked at a railroad tie is a piece of work, because that's what they put the rails on.
But you try what? Trying to think about what year, what time? Because way back there, then they had rubber on the railroad wheel.
This would be this would have been in the early 50s.
You said railroad tie, right? That's
Railroad tie.
That's that big piece of wood that goes between the rails.
That the
Yeah.
rails goes on.
That's a big piece
And
of
it's
lumber.
called a tire?
T-I-E, tie. Railroad
yeah, that's
tie.
a tire. It's
Okay.
a railroad tie.
Yeah.
But my grandfather, just tell you about my grandfather.
It's
My
like a
grand-
2x4.
Only bigger, only much bigger.
Okay.
My grandfather was a reader, and he told my cousin. This is a different cousin. This contemporary cousin. He told my cousin. He said, "You're gonna go away to war, and you're gonna be all right. But if you go back a second time, you're not gonna be all right." So subsequently, my cousin, in due time, is drafted for the Vietnam War. He goes over there. He comes back. He's fine. And you're supposed to do one tour, something like that. So he comes back, and while he's at the base, the commander of the unit tells him that they're going back. And that's when my grandfather's words came up on his radar. So he left. He ain't go, he left base.
AWL.
AWL, he
That's right.
thought. And like black people, we get scared when we do something and get away with it. We get scared. So he got, several months later, he gets the Holy Ghost. He goes back to the camp. The unit was gone, but he gets back to the camp. They say, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Well, I came back. I was on leave." They said, "You know, you out of the army." Wow. If he had stayed, he would have went back to Vietnam. When he came back, he was already processed out of there. My grandfather.
So he made it.
He made it. So this is the wisdom table. All I do is talk to people, get their wisdom. And that's what makes the wisdom table the wisdom table. I want to thank everyone for viewing us. We had these candid remarks at the end of the show, just testifying the fact that the wisdom table exists right in your own family, among your friends and relatives, and going beyond Easter and Christmas. There are other times that are favorable for families to get together and have dinner, have a Sunday afternoon dinner or a Saturday afternoon dinner, and get to know one another. And that's what we have to be about today. It's a form of organizing. organizing, get to know your family members, especially our young people who are not getting the education that we got. And what we got may not have been great, but they are not being educated in these schools today. It is up to us to educate our children. Otherwise, they are going to be the first victims of the dumbing down of America, which is a policy. So we must take control of the education of our young children. And for the adults and teenagers who dropped out of school, the state office building, the 15th floor, there's the opportunity to take free classes that get you ready to go back into the education system, GED, get you ready to go back, not go back, but go into community colleges or the 4-year colleges. Take advantage of what's out there for us to do. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Yeah. Get ready for next